Octane's open, right? Yeah. Octane's open. If you want to network in the back, feel free. But we do want to get started. We are starting a little early tonight. Can you all hear me in the back? All right. Welcome to Atlanta Startup Village number 27. Woo, woo, woo. You guys aren't gonna believe this. This is the first time in 27 events where we've had one company who has some serious travel issues and are not gonna be able to make it tonight. So we only have 4 companies. I know, it's disappointing. It is disappointing, but we'll hook them up in June because they're a great company. And he actually was just flying back for 4 hours just for this event. So, all right, before we get started, how many people here are here for the first time? All right, well, welcome. Welcome to the Atlanta Tech Village. Welcome to Atlanta Startup Village. For those who are new here, this is our 27th event. 5 companies present for 5 minutes. The way that this originated, myself, Kyle Porter, went out to Techstars Boulder, and we experienced an amazing community out there. One of the big takeaways was Boulder, Denver New Tech Meetup, and we brought it back to the Atlanta Tech Village and to Atlanta. Core values here at Atlanta Tech Village: pay it forward, work hard, play hard, dream big, and pay it forward. Did I say pay it forward again? Be nice. Yes. I gotta always work on that one. We do have a couple sponsors. Who here is drinking beer? Who here is drinking beer free? All y'all. So we have sponsors that have sponsored the beer. We have a couple other sponsors, and we also have an amazing guest speaker tonight. So before we get started, I'll run the Friendly Human video. There is a live link right now. Yeah, go ahead, Daniel. Share a little bit more about.
Sure. Hey, folks. I'm Daniel Roberts. I'm the CEO of Friendly Human, and we get to sponsor this every month and live stream it to an ever larger audience that can fit in this room. But that's not what we normally do. We normally help companies tell their stories. We've got a studio downstairs in the basement here, and this one is pretty cool. We helped Gimme, local startup, tell their story. 2 awesome guys, and they came back to us and they're like, we want something short that we can play at trade shows that shows how we feel about our competition. Because they're replacing handhelds in the vending industry with iPads. So I think this accomplishes that task.
Are the Centrix folks here? Centrix, come on down. You are the next contestant on The Price is Right. Centrix is a great sponsor. They are helping pay for all of the beer. So give them a quick round of applause.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mike Peckham. I'm the Client Relationship Director at the Centrix Group, and I'm with Christina and Meredith here. We are an IT staffing company local in Atlanta. We focus on the whole SDLC and infrastructure needs, and really excited about what's going on down here with the companies, and looking forward to being a bigger part of it going forward. So if you need anything, if your team's growing, feel free to reach out to us. And we'll be here over near the keg, so I'm sure we're in a popular spot. So appreciate it. You guys have a good night.
Thank you, Centrix. Rock on. Pete, ATDC. ATDC is also a sponsor. Check them out. They're on Tech Square. Pete, take it away.
Just like us to not get the cool sponsorship, we did not sponsor the beer. I'm not really sure what we sponsored, but any money that we give to you, I'm sure goes to a terrible cause. Anyone not heard of ATDC? Who hasn't heard of the ATDC? It's perfectly fine if everyone raises their hand. Okay, I don't know, 40%. ATDC is the Advanced Technology Development Center located at Georgia Tech. Our mission is to help launch and build successful tech companies located here in Georgia. So we're located at Georgia Tech. We are not a Georgia Tech a dedicated resource. Any company headquartered in Georgia can be a part of the ATDC. The main difference, besides being the now second coolest incubator, I guess, we fall far behind here. We're the least cool incubator in the state. Besides that, we are not real estate dependent. That's the core difference between ATV and ATDC. We don't care where the innovation, where it's happening. We want everyone to be successful. We have centers in Savannah. We're starting ones in Athens, Augusta, Gwinnett, Alpharetta, Cobb. We're totally location dependent. So, independent, excuse me, not dependent. That would be ATV. We are independent. Everyone scratch out dependent, add independent. We have two programs that everyone should know about. Community, open to everyone. Every single person, whether you have a company, an idea, no matter where you are, it's available to you, and it's a educational programming component, and it also has access to limited access to our mentors, our entrepreneurs in residence, who are mostly full-time, catalysts who are full-time. All of those resources are available to you for $25 a quarter. So it's peanuts, and the reason why we can do that is we're funded by the state, so we really don't care. It's your taxpayer dollars going to good work. The second piece is our select companies. The select companies are vetted technology companies. We like to think of them as the most innovative technology companies in the state of Georgia, again, headquartered in the state of Georgia. Right now we have 35. We just graduated 13 out of our incubator. Of the companies that graduate from our program, 90% are successful. That means 90% go on to be sold, acquired, IPO'd, some type of nice, fun exit. We have some Sales Loft, Kyle's company, Rigor just graduated, Next Defense, all here in the ATV, all part of ATDC's Select program. So again, it's open to everyone. Please come by. Thanks.
Thanks, Pete. You're gonna be here afterwards? Nice. Tonight, we're also doing something a little different. We only have 4 companies, so we have a special speaker who's gonna talk about something that we all care about when it comes to business, driving revenue. I wanna bring up Kyle Porter. Kyle, let the audience know what's gonna happen after the 4 companies.
Cool. Hey, who's ever been to the Palm restaurant? It's a really nice restaurant, right? So there are a couple of them around the world. And when you go to the Palm restaurant, there are these caricatures on the wall. Has anyone ever seen this? Like President Obama, Tom Cruise, all these famous people, right? At the Palm in Chicago, there is a face caricature of the guy who's gonna get up and speak with you all after the 4 presenters go on stage. And his name is Craig Kleeman. And the first time I ever saw Craig, me and Sean Kester, we were in Utah at a sales event, a sales acceleration tour. And we saw him, we were like, who let the band up on stage? And this guy came up and just wowed the entire audience. And so Craig's gonna get up and he's gonna talk about 4 steps to accelerating sales. He's got great experience. He's written a book. So he's the author of a sales book. And the name of the book is, don't tell me yet, it is the Must React System. And it's a fantastic book, so we're real excited to have Craig come up and share his story. And me and John are excited to know Craig and to have learned from him. And he's also trained Marketo, LinkedIn, and hundreds of other companies, so we think you'll get a lot of value from this.
Nice. We're looking forward to Craig. He's also Forbes top 50 sales thought leaders. Last one before we get to the presentations. One of the big things, obviously this group has grown a lot from the 30 folks that came to the first one. And we always want to spread as much brand awareness to nonprofits. And so we will begin to educate the community as much as possible on some of the cool nonprofits in Atlanta. And I know many of you guys know Hands On Atlanta, but we do have some of the Hands On Atlanta team tonight to share a little bit more. Take it away.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kendra Wise. I'm the communications director at Hands On Atlanta. How many of you have heard of Hands On Atlanta? How many of you have heard of Hands On Atlanta for anything else other than Hands On Atlanta Day? One person, I think, raised their hand. So it might be surprising to you, but we actually run programs all year round in schools throughout Atlanta and 7 different counties. And ultimately, we save Atlanta about $4 million annually in our volunteer efforts. So our mission is to tackle Atlanta's most pressing needs, if I can get this to work, by igniting a passion for lifelong service and creating lifelong community volunteers. So more than just a service opportunity, Hands On Atlanta also provides corporate projects. And really this is an opportunity for businesses to bring their teams together in service, to engage in the communities in which you live and work, right? So market research has revealed that this recent generation, your millennials, Generation Y, they value experiences over things. So whether you have this generation in your workforce or whether it's among your consumers, this is an opportunity for you to both, inspire the teams that you work with and also to ignite your brand, right, and promote your brand in a socially responsible way. So just some quick stats, and I promise I'll move on to an interesting video. Companies who volunteer have higher rates of productivity and retention. They take less sick days and they feel happier at work. They also report being less stressed and they're more active. So let me show you a little bit more about what we do from a personal level and at a volunteer level.
I volunteer because I want to inspire change in another individual in the hopes that they will inspire change in another individual.
For the past 25 years, Hands On Atlanta has mobilized volunteers in the community. Our new focus is addressing the underserved youth and families in our community. We're reinventing volunteerism. We're tackling Atlanta's most pressing needs in the areas of education, youth development, family support, and family self-sufficiency.
The work that we do requires thousands of volunteers, from tutors to community beautification, and also for skills-based volunteers. By responding to this need, our corporate partners are helping us fulfill our mission, but it's much more than that. This is an opportunity for them to bring their teams together in service. As community leaders, they're setting the example for volunteerism and giving back to the community.
Making a difference in a huge group of people is one thing, but just to impact at least one individual, that means way more, because I could be a part of their story. When they're telling their story one day, they can say, I really remember when I was a child. They really gave me so much confidence in myself. That's why I'm here.
All right, thank you. So we have ongoing volunteer opportunities, and if you just want to find a little bit more about what we do, go to the website, maybe go to a family volunteer. Maybe we have family service Saturdays, tons of opportunities there. Also, if you have questions, we're going to stay after. My colleague Zach, he's the development director, is sitting in the back, and we'll be happy to talk with you after.
Great, thank you. All right, let's get to the show. We have 4 companies. Moto Brain, take it away.
All right. Let me get ready here. One moment, please. All right. Well, thank you all. Thank you for inviting me out here, John, and thanks for all coming. I'm excited to talk to y'all. My name is Joshua Ostermorris. I'm a founder at DC Control Systems. Our offices are in Midtown. We design electronics, firmware, software, and cloud services to support those products. And we design them both for ourselves and for people like you. Today we're here to talk about my favorite new product, Moto Brain. That's what it looks like on the outside, and here's the software interface. That's what it looks like on the inside. And what is Moto Brain? If my computer is going to respond. Moto Brain is a high-tech circuit breaker panel for vehicles. It has both a wired and wireless computer interface that provides programmable triggering capabilities, real-time remote data tracking, and operates autonomously once programmed. You stick it in your car, truck, fleet vehicle, that sort of thing. Moto Brain's features include overcurrent circuit protection, programmable logic controller, which streams in data from a bunch of sensors, voltage sensors, current sensors, ignition sensor, key sensor, battery voltage, and external sensors via an API. I use it on my motorcycle to turn down my heated clothes in the wintertime when I'm going slow, but turn them up when I'm going fast. I stream speed data out of my cell phone. It has a high current capability, 100 amps, which is a lot for the uninitiated, and cloud-based monitoring for our new enterprise customers. The cloud-based features allow you to stream data out of the device, all the sensor data, current voltage, those things, and alerts the customer based on criteria that they set. If you have a required device in your vehicle, such as a, well, I have a customer who has RFID scanners and scales in their garbage trucks, and if they don't scan each trash can and weigh it, they don't get paid for the can, and if they don't get, well, they're in the business of making money, so that's a big problem. We can tell them when it's broken and allow them to fix it. Likewise, if you're a police department, you want to make sure your dash camera's on. If it gets unplugged, turned off for some reason, the company can call you and, or the police department can call you and say, bring your truck back in or your car back in and we'll fix that. It allows for troubleshooting of the device either by servers automatically or by technicians in an office building somewhere 1,000 miles away from the fleet. It empowers better fleet management because those people can get work orders done faster, repair the vehicles in a hurry, which allows them to actually reduce the number of excess fleet vehicles they need to own. And for $750,000 per garbage truck, well, that's a lot. We're going to do a very quick demonstration of the product here. Stand by. All right, so here's the Moto Brain. We'll do a quick overcurrent problem. We'll turn on output 2, and it will automatically trip because it's drawing 12 amps into something designed for 8. So there's one example. Of course, you wouldn't normally use this device with a cell phone attached because you use it to program and then it just runs autonomously. So, but it can do normal things like turn on lights, right? Or a headlight. Or if you're an emergency vehicle, it can do those kinds of things. It can also stream in data. I have a race car driver customer, puts an engine, temperature sensor in his engine block, and then as it warms up, the cooling fan that he puts on turns on faster. So those kinds of things. Let's move back. How much time do I got? Excellent. Okay. We launched in January. We started selling the product to consumers in order to build product credibility because I found that enterprise customers are somewhat risk-averse to start up products. User feedback's been outstanding, but we're ready to pivot now to the commercial vehicles where we can really drive growth. Our first enterprise customer was able to get ROI on the first day. The total cost of the product is less than the labor savings they get from installing our product relative to what they use now, which is like 1950s tech. So it was a big win for them. And they also believe they'll earn at least 10 million or 25 million in less CapEx invested in trucks over the next 10 years. So we're aiming at medium-duty trucking because it's more fragmented than heavy-duty trucking and sees less innovation as a result. There are 250,000 trucks sold in the United States each year and 3 million registered. And the total addressable market in the US is 200 million a year in hardware sales, we believe, with aggressive pricing relative to the competition, like a third, at 70% gross margin, so it's a pretty good business. And then software recurring sales for support, API access, and cloud stuff, maybe 300 million. And we're shipping now. Thank you. Questions?
Have you looked at the aviation industry?
Have I looked at the aviation industry? Well, I used to fly planes, and I know better than to put anything up in the sky because the FAA is, well, not good to work with. I love planes, but I would never sell into them.
Where do you plug this item in? Do you plug it in the OBD3? How do you plug it in?
The gentleman asked if this gets plugged into one of the interfaces in the vehicle that are already there, something like a CAN bus, or, well, that's what he was describing. And no, one of our big, actually, competitive advantages is that the products that do this, that are sold by people like Siemens or maybe Takata or Delphi, they plug into the CAN bus system, but the customers, even customers with 10,000 trucks, don't know how to use that stuff. And the people who do live in, they live in Detroit, and they live in Munich, and they live in Kyoto, and that's where they live. And the other people who know how to use CAN bus, they don't live where everybody else is. So it's actually really difficult for them. But something like this, you can, just a Java developer can make this work, because we have fully baked Java APIs for everything. So regular enterprise skills work for that. Please.
How do you maintain your competitive advantage? You just listed competitors. So what prevents them from doing the same thing over time?
Probably nothing. That's really difficult to do. You know, it's basically a glorified light switch, which talks to the cloud, right? So what you have to do is beat them with a better product. But I take the Pepsi challenge with anyone. I don't mind losing, but I'll fight to the death, right? No, sir. The public, you know, you want people to use them. Anyone? Sir? Well, it can't. I got you. I'm sorry to interrupt you. He asked, is the internet capability on the board or is it external? Well, it could be both. Right now, we have a USB interface and a Bluetooth interface, but there's no reason why we couldn't blop in a 3G radio. It turns out that all the customers, enterprise customers we've spoken to, already have some sort of computer on the vehicle. So USB, we just plug it in and it's golden. Gentleman in the back. Am I worried about compatibility issues? No, sir. The one I was pointing at. This light switch right now is available for sale today to consumers for $340 all in, including shipping. We'll raise the price for the commercial vendors by differentiating the product with USB interface and the cloud platform, which will add on. Gentlemen. It can actually count. The signal inputs are actually pretty good. We can do PWM. You can actually see a little PWM interface logo up here on input 1. So we can read that in. We can also read in broad diversity of current. Plus, with the API, you can send in any data, right? Like my GPS data from my phone, I use it to make my motorcycle riding more pleasant. Sir. Well, I did. The development thus far has all been by me, the hardware, software, and all that business. But now that I want to build out the business, I feel obliged to find an enterprise business development partner to help me with that. So probably in a good room for that. If anybody's interested in helping me blow this up, come find me on LinkedIn, Joshua Oster Morris.
Great. All right, wow, that was awesome. Melissa, are you here? So just a quick heads up, we do have volunteers who help put the chairs out, who help take the chairs, put them away, and they do get 30 seconds to pitch whatever they want. And that's what y'all about to get. Melissa W., Tech Town South, take it away.
Hi, this is my first Atlanta Startup Village. Super excited. Melissa Lockley, Tech Talent South. I'm sure if you're in the tech scene, you've heard of us. 8-week code immersion boot camps. We also offer our graduate program and our front-end web design. We just kicked off our second week of our spring session, but we're already looking ahead towards summer. We offer partial scholarships for females and just all around badass people. We also have our Free Kids Code initiative that we do while we're in session, so look for that on Eventbrite. And our free workshops, which you can find out about on our meetup page. My information's on the whiteboard in the back. Melissa at Tech Talent South, if you're interested in hearing more. Thanks.
Thank you, Melissa at Tech Town South. Peter from Answer Rocket, take it away.
Hey, can you guys hear me in the back? Awesome. Okay. Hey, I'm Pete Riley with Answer Rocket, and I have spent, the better part of the last year talking to well over 200 enterprises about how they make their data available to people inside the company. And I learned a couple of things. Number one is I learned they all have something like this, right? They all have some level of dashboarding and reporting, and they're using great products like Tableau and Click and Tibco and so on. But the other thing that I learned is that these are all kind of very standardized views of the business. So this is really somebody telling you this is how you should be thinking about the business. So the minute you have a question that's not answered on this dashboard, you want to go off script, explore, ask some novel questions, well, your world looks a little bit like this. So there's your data, and there's a big wall between. And that wall involves you having to get some technicians involved, people who understand how to use the tool and how to get to that information. And if you're fortunate enough for your question to be deemed worthy of having a technician actually spend time on it, you'll be lucky to get an answer back in generally weeks or months sometimes. And the other thing that I heard from people, which was really a little bit depressing, was people would tell me that they actually stopped asking questions because this process was so painful. So we think that people should be able to ask questions and be curious and explore and hypothesize and learn from their data. And the way we do that at Answer Rocket is we provide organizations with this Google search capability on top of their data. All right, so let me jump into a demo here. And this is Answer Rocket, and for the purposes of this demo, I have NFL data. I have every play for every game from the 2000 season through this past year, and the idea is I can just ask questions, so we'll give this a try. Which quarterbacks have the most rushing touchdowns? Except you want to do that in the answer box. Sorry. Which quarterback has the most rushing touchdowns? And of course, I got to get back to my URL. See, this is the problem with live demos, right? Sorry. So far, it's looking awesome. There we go. All right, let's try this again. Which quarterback has the most rushing touchdowns? All right, voice is not working so great here. Okay, so there we go, finally. We got the answer is Mike Vick, and if I want to ask a follow-up question, I can say, I could just say in the postseason. And the answer there you can see is Tom Brady. When you want to go to a new question, you just simply, just like you would in a search box, you'd go ahead and clear it out. And I want to know how many touchdowns, and you can see the system trying to help me understand what it knows. Do you know how hard it is to type in front of this many people? All right, so how many touchdowns does Marshawn Lynch have each season compared to DeMarco Murray? And so, boom, here's the answer. And you can see here in this last year, he had 18 versus 15. So I say, well, let's just look at the regular season. I want to look at the regular season. So here's the answer to that question. We're at 17 and 13. And let's say I don't want to just look at touchdowns. I want to look at rushing touchdowns specifically. And you can see here now we're dead even at 13 a pop. If I don't like the visualization, I can change it. I actually think this view is kind of interesting. I can look at the pivot table, the actual data itself. And if I want to know more about the data, all the way to what did we do with the English sentence, and how did we categorize things, to where did the data come from, how old is it, all the way down to the SQL query, we can get that information here. Do I have time for one more question? I'm going to try it. All right. So which player has more than 9 rushing touchdowns and more than 1,200, that typing thing, yards in a season? Oops. Toast is done. Okay, here's one view. The other view I like better is this tree map. I've got LaDainian Tomlinson and Adrian Peterson. And then if I can say in the last 5 years, and look at that again, and you see Marshawn Lynch. You can look at, and you can also switch this. I just thought this was interesting. When you look at the seasons, 2012, it happened, 8 times, and last year it only happened twice. So anyway, we can do a bunch more with the product that I can't show you today. Hopefully you get a sense for what we're doing and how we're empowering people in organizations to just freely ask questions, be curious, and learn from their data. I'm going to invite my colleague, Mike Finley, up here to help me. I'm guessing you're going to ask me questions I can't answer, and I'm going to have to ask him. You have the mic? Awesome, thank you. Question?
Okay, that is awesome.
Thank you. Besides my typing, thank you.
Seriously. So who is your primary customer? What are you going after a vertical?
Sure.
Why?
Yeah, the question is who's our primary customer? One of the interesting things is, right, there's a ton of use cases here. What we're finding, and we've been spending a lot of time in just customer development to understand what is that use case where this is really the most powerful. And what we're seeing right now is in the media space, there are some use cases both on the sales side and just on the analytics side that make this a really extremely valuable proposition. Go ahead.
What kind of interface do you have with different ERP systems where the data is stored in those databases?
Yep.
Are you broad across SAP,
Sure.
Oracle, Dynamics, or?
Yeah, I'll respond to that. Yes, we are broad.
Repeat the question.
Yeah, sorry. The question is what integration do we have kind of at the bottom of the stack against different databases, SAP, Oracle, and others provided there. So the primary database that we work with is Amazon Redshift, but that is a replaceable driver within the architecture. So that bottom part of the stack is replaceable both from the connectivity perspective as well as the database connector itself, so JDBC or ODBC or a number of others. And then specifically within that realm, then you could say, well, what's the schema that you address, right? So what's the structure of the data that you're talking to? And the answer there is that it really depends on the target. So we're completely data-driven as to the structure of the data that we integrate with, which makes us independent of any software platform that we're writing on.
There's one there in the back.
Yeah, so if you guys integrating like that, how do you plan on kind of handling larger database like older MongoDB systems and some of the bigger databases that take a very long time to query against?
Yeah, so if a database responds very slowly to a query currently, then we're not going to make that faster, right? We don't change the speed of the underlying database. What we can do is make the ability to create the query much faster, and then the ability to iterate that query in order to make it more optimal, again, much faster. So that's our answer in that mode.
I'm really glad Mike's up here, by the way.
Yeah. The question is, are we using any machine learning to do the analysis? And the answer is no. We actually hired the guy that gave the last presentation. And no, just kidding. Of course, the machine is answering questions which have not been taught to it, right? So therefore, it's had to learn the patterns behind the questions that are being posed, and machine learning has to be used in that environment. So yes.
Someone back there?
Yeah, so what do we have to do to start using Answer Rocket? So the first is write a check, ANS. All right, so in all seriousness, there are 3 phases to it, right? The first thing is we attach to the data and we analyze it. That's automatic. We pull in the schema, we pull in the actual data itself, we run stats on the data that's already there. We learn a lot from that, but stage 2 is where a human teaches the system, and this is done through a series of a bunch of different mechanics that can be applied, but bottom line is it's a tacit knowledge transfer from a human who knows the data model into the schema that AnswerRocket understands. And stage 3 is an ongoing adaptation. So every time you ask the system a question, it learns, except when Pete asks, because he's asked the same question over and over, so it doesn't learn anything from that.
Yeah, nothing.
But usually every time you ask a question, there's something that's being learned through that process.
One more. Do you provide instructions to the database manager about indexing to help speed up the searches, or?
The question is, do we provide instructions to the database managers to help improve indexing and whatnot? Our queries ultimately are SQL, which can be analyzed by the query planner down at the database level, and it can make those recommendations. So while we will cache information to make answers faster, we don't necessarily respond to them by making recommendations about the query plan.
How much does it cost?
Keep going, or?
How much does it cost?
Yeah, sure. So our pricing model is based on both database size and number of concurrent users. At the lowest level, kind of a departmental implementation, it's about 12 grand a year, and it just scales up from there based on both database size and number of users.
AnswerRocket. Well done. Jennifer? Hey, how are you? You ready? 30 seconds.
Raise your hand if you want to be heard. Anybody in here want to be heard? All right. Well, we're all clamoring to get the attention of others. And enter Jennifer Long voice. I am actually a voiceover artist, and I perform explainer videos, internet explainer videos, business narrations, educational narrations, and I've worked with the BMO, Harris Bank, Marriott, LensCrafters, and would love to help you sort of share your voice with the world. So check me out at the end. My information's on the back, and my email address is jenniferlongvoice@gmail.com. Thanks.
Nice. What a cool service. Harold. Harold's been to like probably 15 of these, and he's like one of the biggest supporters ever. And he's got an amazing company, so I'm looking forward to this. Harold, take it away.
Thank you, John. I appreciate that. I'm hoping that this product can apply to everyone. My name is Harold Alexander. I run a software company called Alexander Software. We created a company called software called TimeQ, and what TimeQ basically is an online time clock. And what we basically tried to do was create time to make it more mobile. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people in here clock in and out. Some of you probably write it down on an Excel spreadsheet. You use an online form of some sort. What TimeQ basically does is that it takes all that and it makes it mobile. I'll go through a couple of steps with you. But what we basically did was we created a online time clock. Let me go here and let me go to the website and show you kind of what it looks like. And so on our main page, let me go up here, get a little bigger. This is our home screen, and what you basically do is we supply all the companies with a secure link, and on the home page it kind of shows you exactly what's going on with it, and you click on it to log in, and once you log in, you'll get the home page. On this is the desktop. You would click the login here, and you would log in with your username, and he's right, it is actually hard to type. But then you log in here, and you go in to the console, and from here, you would select the employee, and I'm gonna select myself. And as you can see right here, I got the Atlanta Tech Village already set up in there. What it basically does is that you download the app, and the employee would log in with the app. And the app would allow you can't clock in and out unless you're physically at that location. So right now I have this particular location set up in here, and if you see, you can zoom in, and you can see it shows, when it zooms up a little bit, we're at the Atlanta Tech Village. So what would happen is, wherever that dot is, the little pin is the only place they can clock in and out from. You have an option of changing the location, or you can even change the radius, which is up here. The radius is done in kilometers, so you can have it set to 25, 50, or 175 kilometers. And basically, when they download the app, they can only clock in if they're physically at that location within that kilometer reading. You can enter in as many locations as you want. You can see it has the longitude and latitude locations. And once the employee finished clocking in, they will get a report that they could use themselves. So I'm gonna kind of give you an idea of what the app looks like if we go through here. And I don't have a
pretty much a link to it, but you can see this is the app screen. And you can go in, and this is what the app looks like. So you would clock in, you hit the clock in button, and if they're not at that location where their employee said they are, then they won't get able to clock in. If they are at that location, it lets them clock in and they can go about their day. This is done in real time, so if at any given moment the employee doesn't move to a different location, then the employee can move them just by moving the location. So we didn't want to have it tied to an address. So what you can basically do is, let's say for right now, they're at the Atlanta Tech Village, and let's say they want to move over to Buckhead Church. So they can just click on it, drag it, and sit it here. And now they can only clock in at the Buckhead Church location. They can't clock in here. So you can move it on the fly. It's completely dynamic. And so if they're at a location and they need to clock in and out of that location, they can do it. And if you need to move it to a different location, you move the pin. This is great for like construction workers, people who are not tied to a physical address, lawn care, who's moving around a lot. So you have complete control of where your employee can clock in and out from. In July, we're adding a new feature. We're adding a couple of new features. One is picture taking. So the your employers will be able to go into TimeQ and they will be able to enable the app that you download, and they will be able to snap your picture when you clock in and snap your picture when you clock out. So what will happen is that your picture will be saved, and this will prevent fraud from people from saying, can you clock me in when you get there, or, just kind of getting over on the system. We're also adding a new texting feature coming out probably in the fall, and this is a really cool feature that we're very proud of, and you'll be able to send text messages to TimeQ and it will respond with an answer. So like for an example, if you wanted to know how many hours you worked last week, all you have to do is just send a message that says, hey, TimeQ, how many hours did I work? It will respond back. No human interaction will be needed on this. You'll be able to get your PTO hours, your vacation hours, and you'll actually be able to do PTO requests from anywhere in the country or anywhere in the world, that is, if you have text information. So, but that's it. That's my presentation. I'll be ready to take any questions.
And Jake from Rescour, we all start coming up and get ready for yours. Thanks.
I'm sorry, question? Yes. Yes, it's Android and iOS.
Does the app automatically clock you out when you're watching cat videos?
Actually, the question was, does the app automatically clock you out when you're watching cat videos? No, it does not. That's actually an interesting feature we may try to add in there, though. Yes, I'll go back here. All of them. The question was, which HR system does it interact with? And one of the things we're proud about with TimeQ is that we interact with almost anyone. If you have a HR system that has an import-export feature, we've designed export for whatever. So we customize the export and import features for all of the HR systems. So we've integrated with a lot of different systems that you wouldn't even think we would be able to interact with. And we have a lot of it automated, so you don't have to enter in all the employees. Yes, so in the back. When they're on when there's some place where there's no network? You're talking about like the cell phone. Okay, that's a great question. We have a new feature that we added about a month ago. It's called the trust feature. And what the trust feature is basically is we have also, it's called a block GPS feature. And what happens is, if you're in a location and you have a poor GPS signal, your employer can do one of two things. One is they can make you a trust employee, which means it doesn't do a check. It doesn't do a GPS check. So it says, okay, this person is here, we trust that they're there, and it'll just record your information. So it doesn't use a GPS. The other one is block GPS, poor GPS. And what basically that means is, if you're in an area that has a really poor GPS and your employer still doesn't trust you, the system automatically switches over to a GPS system, and it still clocks you in. It tells your employer that you was in a poor system and it clocked you in. You select the location. A message will pop up with all your approved location entered by your employer, and then you select the location you're at, and your employer will know, hey, they're in a poor GPS signal. This was, selected by that, and that way the employer will still know. You'll still be able to clock in. Yes. It's by employees. It's pretty straightforward. It's $2.50 per employee per month. There's no setup fee and no cancellation fee. And I can tell you this: we've been doing TimeQ for about 2 years now, we've had two companies actually leave. One, they went out of business, so that didn't count. The second one was they switched all of the employees over from hourly to salary, and they wasn't using any of the PTO. And by the way, TimeQ does have a PTO and vacation built into it as well that interacts with your payroll system. Yes. Yes. Yes, yeah, you can download it, and it is a cloud-based application, so you can go to the web, and we'll give you like a link, and you can just go in, they can type it in. We have a company that's actually looking into doing that as well, so, yes.
So I hear a lot about trust, about not trusting the employee, but I give this guy a $20,000 truck and a $600 iPhone to check in on this. It seems a little bit of a disconnect to me, because like I trust them enough about my equipment, but not necessarily enough to check in properly.
Yeah, he was asking the question about the trust system. What we basically did, you're absolutely right. What we basically wanted to do was cover kind of all the bases and let the employer decide what option they can take. We didn't want to have you locked in to a specific situation to where, okay, I'm giving this employee all of this valuable equipment, what options do I have? With TimeQ, you can, trust them, not trust them, you can monitor them, you can do whatever you want. The option's up to you. And we also add certain features that will help you kind of tweak it. We also work with our customers to where we've added certain features on the fly for clients who wanted to use it, because I'm the developer of it, so we hand code it. I've added features like in 3 hours to a client that wanted something. So it's very customizable in the back end of it, yes. Actually, that's a good question about Kronos. We actually was competing with them. We had up in Pickens County was looking heavily at our software. I think we're still kind of in the running, but they had Kronos came in right before us, and they liked us way better than them. Because one of the things about it was that their police department really loved the fact that they could monitor like where the locations were, and the parking department, I'll finish this last one, but the parking one was because it's not tied to an address. That's the cool thing about TimeQ. You don't need a physical address to clock in and out. You can clock in and out from the middle of a park. And you can just go in, Dragon and Piedmont Park near the fountain, and they have to be at that location, at that fountain, before they can clock in or out. So I have any more questions, you can please contact me, but thank you so much.
Well done. Harold, you give me a round afterwards for questions, more questions. Gotta love the passion, love the passion. All right, we have Tom. Aaron? Oh, Aaron?
Hey, everybody. So what are y'all all doing next Thursday afternoon? Tell me. Where are you going to be? Are you going to be with me? At Opera. Who said Opera? Did anybody say Opera? Hell yes. You're going to be at Opera with Steve Case and about 600 other Atlantans, so I hope all of y'all will be there. Steve Case, he was the founder of AOL, and he also has a venture capital firm called Revolution, and he is coming to Atlanta to talk about all the amazing things that are happening in Atlanta in the startup community. So 8 local startups are pitching to get $100,000 from him next Thursday. Then there's going to be a huge party and a fireside chat with Steve Case, and it's all free. So I hope to see you guys there. Yes? Who's going to be there? Raise your hand. Awesome. See you there.
Thank you, Aaron. Was Tom in the building? No? Going once, going twice? All right. Rescour. Jake, take it away.
Thank you. So, Rescour. It's for the hundreds of thousands of professionals that buy and sell commercial property, about $800 billion worth of commercial property every single year. It does 2 things. It brings dozens of siloed data sources into one unified environment, and it makes buy and sell recommendations using data mining and predictive analytics. So everybody meet Matt. Matt works for QR Capital. He's the head of real estate over there. He manages about $300 million worth of commercial real estate. He's a beta customer of Rescour, and Rescour has completely changed his business. And I'm going to show you why. So today, Matt wants to buy an apartment complex in Houston, Texas. So he logs on to Rescour and starts filtering through all the available listings. So he likes newer and bigger apartment complexes. So he's going to filter out everything that was built before 2000 and everything that's less than 100 units. Now he can start zooming in on the map, hovering over the individual listings, scrolling through the list of listings, trying to find something that he likes. And eventually he comes across an apartment called Memorial Heights Villages. So he clicks on it, pulls up the details page, reviews some basic information about the property. Now this property is actually perfect for Matt, and Rescour is going to tell him why. So he goes back to the map, turns on news. Now we have aggregated and geolocated hundreds of thousands of news articles across the country so that Matt knows exactly what's happening in this specific part of Houston. So for example, today he looks at a news article about a corporation that's relocating its headquarters just a mile from the property. And this is important because all these people will need a place to live, and therefore rents will start going up because of the increased demand and the values start going up. Next, he wants to look at the developments that are happening in the area. So what are the apartment complexes that are going to be built that I'm going to have to compete with for all these new residents? Now all this information is actually collected through our separate crowdsourcing platform called DevMap. So it's proprietary to Rescour. So it's an advantage for us in the market. Last but not least, he wants to take a look at demographics, learn a little bit more about the people that live in this area. So he might look at median income, median home value, median rents, and all this information is displayed on these really cool heat maps so he can quickly understand how things change around the property. Now this is our research platform. We like to say it's a lot like Zillow for commercial real estate, but remember this is only half of our product. We also make buy and sell recommendations using data mining and predictive analytics. This will actually transform the commercial real estate industry completely. Let me show you how that works. First, Matt would go in and he'd upload his entire portfolio into Rescour. Now, Rescour would actually automatically generate a personalized investment strategy for Matt using our classification analysis. That was a lot. So basically what I said is we know what's important to Matt, what types of data are affecting his properties, and what market trends he's looking for. Now, if he wants to adjust this personalized investment strategy going forward, he can simply adjust the configurations. So for instance, he increases school rankings because he's trying to attract more families to his apartment complexes. From here, he goes to his dashboard, sees his current portfolio's performance as well as the overall market being summarized in a few charts and numbers. But most impressive, he scrolls down to the recommendations section. Sorry guys, I'm getting over an illness. This is Rescour's secret sauce. We have applied a proprietary regression analysis to every available commercial property across the country. So the man knows exactly what to buy, where to buy, and when to buy it. And again, this is based off his inputs and his behavior on Rescour. So for instance, today Rescour is recommending an opportunity to buy an apartment complex here in Midtown Atlanta called Alexander on Ponce. Now this recommendation is based off of a few different things. One, corporate relocations being reported in the news, rent growth well beyond the market average, and a lack of apartments being permitted for development. Again, he can dive deeper into the analysis. He sees Rescour's projections of revenue, cap rate, NOI, as well as a projection of the overall value over time, and even the individual events that have affected that value. He can also look at all the information and the data that was part of this analysis by going to the property details page and looking at other nearby listings, news articles that were affected, sales comps, developments, employment information, etc. Now, commercial real estate is a $15 trillion industry. It has over $800 billion worth of transactions every year, and there are hundreds of thousands of people just like Matt. And Rescour will completely transform the way that he collects information, analyzes the market, and most importantly, makes investment decisions. Thank you. I gotta put on my glasses. Yes, sir.
What's the process by which you get proprietary data and how does it scale?
So the one that I mentioned, so how do we get the proprietary data? So the one that I mentioned in the pitch was our crowdsourcing platform. So people actually come on and upload, tens of thousands of people every single month come onto our platform and upload that information. So is that information in other places? Yes, but as an aggregate, does anyone hold that information other than us? No. Sure. Why do people use Yelp? Why do people post stuff on Twitter? I'm just saying, it's mostly enthusiasts, it's brokers, it's developers, people. Yeah, but mostly, honestly, it's mostly people that it's people like Chris who are city planning majors in college and like to keep up with what's happening in their city. Minor. So part of it is through technology, but we also, I'm sorry, how do you validate the data? So 2 ways. Part of it's through the technology, but we actually have a data team that sees every bit of data that goes through our system and basically sees a score of how accurate we think the data is, and they can say yay or nay. And then obviously machine learning, we get better and better at our job. Go ahead. So the price point. So we charge a minimum of $5,000 a year for a company to use it. So that's basically one license. And then it goes up from there. Some companies are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on the product. Right now, I believe we have 56 companies using it. Anything else? No, so we don't have any. We don't actually make the transaction. It's just a recommendation engine. Would I like to take care of the transaction at some point in the future? Absolutely, but not right now. Yeah, go ahead. There is internal data. So we'd love to write white papers, and that's actually beta. So we're allowing some of our early customers and advisors to use the product, that piece of the product, and we're testing it and hoping that it gets better and better, and then will be used widely. So I just wanted to throw this out. We raised $1.5 million last year. We have 13 full-time employees, 7 engineers. We're an ATDC Select Company, TechSquare Labs, Launch, Mosley Ventures. Great place to work. We're hiring, looking for talented people. Please come see Chris, me, Sean Corcoran, Sean Sweezy, Spencer Applegate, Morgan Sparks, or Chad Lane. We'd love for more and more people to be involved with the team. Go ahead. Only in the U.S. We're actually only multifamily right now, so our next expansion will be office, retail, industrial. It's a big market in the U.S., so if we're successful there, we'll be very excited, but would love to expand all over the world. Anything else? That's it. Thanks, guys.
Well done, well done. Ed and M. Cole. M. Cole? What's up, M. Cole? Hey, how are you? Nice. M. Cole. Okay, hold it. 30 seconds.
All right, well, here you go. I won't throw anything at you. Hold on, I'm sorry, time, y'all. Okay, show of hands. How many startups can use capital injection so you can keep your lights on and keep your team together? All right. How many folks would love that when a big company comes and talk to you that they actually write a check? Right? I introduced to you Fishbowl. Fishbowl is a table turns approach where large companies will actually pitch funded projects to a group of qualified startups and creatives. So think Shark Tank, but reverse. Our Fishbowl event is happening May 19th. I will pass the Fishbowl around. If you guys want to eat some Fishbowl, it's entirely up to you. Or you want to just put your business card. See, he's there talking. If you just want to put your information there, just pass the ball around, and that's it. May 19th, I'm in the back, and the big Fishbowl is on the wall. See me with any questions.
Thank you, M. Cole. Appreciate it. I'm going to get on these. Ed, come on down. Oh, man, those puffs are good. Ed, 30 seconds.
Ed Pimentel, president of Mobile Monday. We're in 140 cities and 50 countries. We meet here the second Monday of every month, and we organize and focus to crowdsource startups' success. What are we doing? What do we have to do that? We have the Internet of Things Cloud Lab for you. We have a Startup MVP Foundry, and we also have a reverse pitch.
Ed, well done. Thank you so much. All right. We have the Craig Kleeman in the building. Craig joins us from Chicago. If you look at some of his videos, he's always courtside. Go Hawks, though. Go Hawks now. And I want to make sure Craig has some. You've got Mike.
think I'm all good.
All right. Let's give it up for Craig Kleeman.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I appreciate it. Oh, can you guys hear me okay? Sorry, I'm a little bit congested. I'm a little bit tired. I just got off the airplane from Southeast Asia 3 days ago and immediately had all kinds of client things to do. And if I look a little tired and if I sound a little tired, it's because I am a little bit tired, and that's just the honest truth. I'm really glad to be here. I have an exciting agenda for you tonight, I believe. This is an exciting place. Man, you guys have a lot going on. But I want to say this. I know for the next 20 or 30 minutes, we're going to have a rockin' good time for at least 3 reasons. One reason is, where is he, man? Kyle Porter somewhere is in the house. Where is he? I know we're going to have fun. He went to give me a water. Thank you, Kyle, for that. Another reason we're going to have a good time is because Johnny Birdsong is in the house, man. Thank you so much. And I think some of my good friends from World 50 are somewhere in the house. Where are you guys? Anybody from World 50 around? I don't know. They may be around. They may not be around. But we're going to have a very good time tonight. I want to tell you guys, I've had the privilege of working with thousands of sellers across the world with my global consulting practice over the last 9+ years now. All kinds of different industries, all kinds of places in the world. And I want to tell you that thank you, bring that right up. I need that water. Thank you so much. You the man. You are in the house. Thank you. Put this right here. I want to tell you the sales organizations that I work with, tell you what I want them to be. I want them to be stunning, like a taser set to 11. That's what I want them to be. I'll tell you what I want sales organizations to do. I want them to tear the roof off the place and rip open the sky. And they can do it. I've seen teams who've incorporated tactics and process and technique and vetted, tested things that work. I've seen them rip the sky open. And I love it when I see sales organizations function at the best level that they can. I'll tell you this, I would rather choke on greatness than nibble on mediocrity. Somebody tweet that, would you please? Craig Kleeman says he'd rather choke on greatness than nibble on mediocrity. And it is easy to be mediocre, is it not? And I don't want to be mediocre, do you? Somebody say amen. Amen. Got my amen corner right over there, man. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. I want to talk to you about 5 things today. Maybe 4, because we're a little pressed for time. I'm going to talk to you about 4 things. And I could talk to you about all kinds of things about sales process, strategy and tactics, strategy and architecture. I'm not going to address today. I'm going to talk more about tactics, tips, and things that can help you bust a move so you can improve. And anybody who wants to improve has got to be ready to bust a move. Somebody say amen. That's right, man. Every good speaker needs an amen corner. All right. We're going to talk about the power of external perspectives. Somebody said to me, Craig, why do you wear those sunglasses all the time? I said, man, you sleep in those things? I said, no, it's about the only time I take them off, though. You know why I wear sunglasses? Every video, every conference, every consulting engagement in the world, because I believe in the power of perspective. I believe in the power of external perspectives, and I believe, like the late, great Stephen Jobs in his autobiographic work, that organizations that lean only on themselves grow inward and grow stale. And I do not want to be a person who grows inward and grows stale. I want to be a person who grows up and out and becomes better and better every day. In fact, let's just jump to this slide right now. The late, great Stephen Jobs transformed 6 industries. He is the ultimate icon of modern day inventiveness. Do you know that if you or me were a senior manager on Stephen Jobs' staff, and we were not cultivating world-class content, and we were not aggregating, I'm not talking about content for your prospects in the context of marketing, although that's a very good thing, I do that. Talking about aggregating content for your team, world-class curation of content that's meaningful and has power. Stephen Jobs insisted that his senior managers did that. Stephen Jobs insisted that his senior managers engaged with world-class consultants. He insisted that they attend world-class events, and he built a world-class company. Rick Smith, in his book, The 5 Patterns of Extraordinary Executives, analyzed the most extraordinary executives in all of modern America business. He hit the 5 patterns. The number 1 pattern that he identified through his research was intellectual curiosity. Rick Smith proved that the intellectually curious will always outperform those who do not have that trait. I want to change. I want to be intellectually curious. You know, one of the reasons I love working with young people have eyes that are unmasked. They have hands that are unbound, and they have ears that are unplugged. They're often more willing than others to hunger and thirst for truth. And by the way, truth testing doesn't always lead to truth. Sometimes it leads to falsity. And we've got to keep our minds open and open and open. Somebody say amen. Amen. Gosh, I'm glad I got a couple of amen corners around here somewhere. We need to embrace the power, just like my PowerPoint's dead. We need to embrace, who needs it? We need to embrace, I don't need it. We need to embrace the power of external perspectives. We have got to be people who hunger and thirst for righteousness in all things and cultivate an insatiable curiosity. All right, I want to talk to you about one more thing, and I would like to get the PowerPoint up so somebody can help me. Thank you, got my back. Thank you, brother. Brother needs a little help once in a while. I want to talk to you about the science of language. Just rewind that thing for a while. I'll tell you about where. Just a little bit more. Right there, man. That's good, right there. I'll take it from here. Science of language. Words have power. My second book, called The Anatomy of a Sale, which will be released this year in 2015. We're just finalizing terms with a couple different publishers right now. I dedicate 15,000 words to the topic of the science of language as applied to persuasion and as further applied to the profession of sales. Anyone who is serious about a profession in sales ought to spend considerable time studying things like hermeneutics, syntactical linguistics, exegetics, to understand the power of language and how to make persuasion happen and occur. One of my favorite movies, I watch it on my devices all the time on airplanes, is School of Rock. Remember that one with Jack Black? I love that movie, School of Rock. I've probably seen it 36 times or more. But you know what? Craig Clayman is going to produce a new movie. And the name of that movie is going to be called The School of Talk. We've got to learn to talk persuasively. We've got to learn to win and fundamentally understand argumentation and the concepts of arguing. Arguing not like a child, but like an adult with reason and with rationale. I remember in that movie, there's a song, I think it's called Zach's Song. Remember that one? It goes, rock ain't got no reason, rock ain't got no rhyme, but you better get yourself to school on time. Well, guess what? I'm gonna write a new song called Craig's Song. It's gonna say, talk has reason, talk has rhyme, and you better talk to your prospects and your customers correctly, otherwise it's a professional crime. And I don't want to be. Thank you. Somebody clap for that. Yeah, come on, man. Got the preacher in me going now. Kyle, it's all your fault. You started all this, man. We've got to be people, especially people, who communicate persuasively, and we got to stop this criminality that's happening in the profession of sales. And you know what reformers do? Reformers bring disruption. They disrupt. And you and I have the potential to bring disruption and to restore excellence to this great profession of selling. I'm going to talk to you about what I call entering the no product zone. In fact, let me just pull it up. I hope you can see this okay. This is a call script. Client I worked with, classic. Lead with value proposition language. Don't raise your hands. This is a rhetorical question. How many of you lead with value proposition or product benefit language? If you do, you would never get certified by Craig Clayman in the must-react system because it is no longer relevant culturally in today's world. We need to learn to lead with fact-based research. Executive buyers are no longer interested in product benefit language. They're interested in topics, trends, metrics, and outcomes. And we need to have language that is centered around those 4 pillars from the School of Talk. Topics, trends, metrics, and outcomes. Look at that script in front of you. Well, it looks normal, doesn't it? It looks cogent, looks well developed. It is fraught with errors. We got an easy out right there. This pointer doesn't want to work. We got, hey, Bob, this is, I can't really read it. Let me get a little bit closer here. This is Joe Smith with Global Enterprise Systems. Do you have a minute? Oh, come on. Talk about unsolicited sales call vernacular. Do you have a minute? Is this a good time for you? I know people have trained you and taught you to say, have respect. Is this a good time for you? But look at me, eyeballs on me, please. Politeness at the expense of persuasion is a crime. Somebody say amen to that one. Amen. Politeness at the expense of persuasion is criminality. And we got to bring justice back to this profession. So we got an easy out. We got sales stench. Look at this. I'd like to introduce him to our agent portal software solution. I'd like to share with him how we saved Zurich International $1 million last year. That's a crime. That is sales stench. My friend Bono had a song on Rattle and Hum. Forgot the name of that song. He looks up. I'm going to see him in June. He looks up. He's lamenting about some policy, some American policy in Central America. And he looks up. You know, the edge is jamming, an ominous riff. And Bono goes, I can see those fighter planes. I can see those fighter planes. I can see those fighter planes pelting the women and children. And he's lamenting about a policy that's destroying people's lives. Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you this. I can smell that sales stench. I can smell that sales stench. I can smell that sales stench from a mile away. We have got to eliminate sales stench and avoid politeness at the expense of persuasion. I'm going to borrow a Dave Chappelle phrase right now. You know what I would do if that was my script? If someone came to me and said, look at this value proposition script. Isn't it good? I'd say, I'm going to steal a Dave Chappelle phrase. I'd say, I'd turn them shits down. I'd turn them shits way down. In fact, let me be real. I'd turn them shits off. I'd turn them completely off. Well, let's look at something else. What about leading with fact-based research? Watch this. Hey, Bob. Hello, Mr. Williams' office. Is he in? No, he isn't. Do you keep his calendar? Because when it comes to calling on executives, it's all about the calendar. One of the principles of the must-react system. Yes, I do. Great. This is Joe Smith with XYZ Company. I'd like to schedule his 15-minute analyst briefing. I plan to accomplish this no later than Friday of next week because deadlines, when rational, really work. Some of these call scripts that I see floating around the internet remind me of a new form of Tourette's syndrome. It's both insulting and injurious to language and the science of language. So we go on, deadlines, when rational, really work. And it goes on to say, I've got availability on X or Y, which works best for him. What is this regarding? The topic is. Guys, let me share something with you, man. Craig Kleeman has made so much money off those 3 words. The topic is. Because if the topic is right, you'll nail them at conversion rates you can't imagine. In this case, we're calling on CFOs, selling an AP automation tool. I crafted all this. Topic is, we're calling chief marketing officers of large insurance carriers, optimizing agent retention and improving agent productivity. Get the stats on this thing. We scheduled 1,680 briefings in a 12-month period, generated $30 million in forecasted revenue, turned into $10 million in net new licensing revenue, all from cold calling, all from leading with fact-based research. We gotta have ears that can smell that sales stench. And we have intelligence that can replace it, rip and replace it with language that works. I'm gonna borrow Dave Chappelle phrase again. That script, I'd turn them shits up. I'd turn them shits way up. All right, man, let's just jump. I got some more points, but just for sake of time, I'm just gonna move to one last point and then close with some words of inspiration for you. I want to talk to you about something so simple but so neglected, the importance of a summary statement in every single customer or prospect-facing conversation, with very few exceptions. Every conversation should end with a well-developed, cogent, intelligible summary statement. It's very simple. Gosh, Bob, I want to make sure that I've ascertained everything that you've shared with me correctly. Would you mind if I summarize the details of our conversation? Guess what? Bob likes that. He wants to make sure that it's all good. When we have these summary statements, it exposes gaps in discovery. Now, I don't have any gaps in my discovery, do you? Heck no, nobody does. You know what else the summary statement does? It's a good transition to a definitive next step. It's the power of language. The other thing it does is it ensures accuracy on both sides. It makes sure everybody's on the same page. And most importantly, it instills customer confidence. You know, we humans, we're created with 2 ears and 1 mouth. There's a reason for that. Especially sellers. We got to learn to double down on listening and shut that trap once in a while. And that summary statement is a fabulous way to cultivate confidence from our customers. I want to close for just a moment with some words of inspiration. I'm so grateful that each and every one of you have put up with my madness today. But I want to say this. There is a very unique imprescriptibility in life. Doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. It's time to displace doubt with faith and belief. And with right practices, with right process, with right language, we can have tremendous success. Inspiration doesn't stir with those who sit still. It emerges from those who dare to change. I want to change. Do you want to change? Yes. I want to change every day. I want to change every single day. And I hope you do too. Inspiration manifests from those who meticulously and mercilessly mystify their skeptics. And that's the kind of person that you and I want to be. I want to tell you this for you sales leaders out there, if I could just talk to you for a minute. There's 7 things that your salespeople, your sellers need to hear from you regularly. They're very simple things, but they're often overlooked. And I want to share those with you. Number 1 is a sales leader to a frontline seller. Number 1, I support you. I support you, dude. I support you. Number 2, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, man. Number 3, here's a big one. Come on, leaders, we can do it. Here's a very important 2 words. I'm sorry. You know, when it's time to say I'm sorry, we need to stand up and say I'm sorry. I'll tell you another thing every seller needs to learn here. I'm a sales leader. I forgive you. Here's another one. I'm listening. Here's another one. This is your responsibility. And here's the most important one of all that frontline sellers desperately need to hear from their leaders. You've got what it takes. People need to be built up, man. It's a tough world out there. Affirmation is important. People need to hear that they've got what it takes. opened up my talk this evening, and I'm going to close with some same thing I opened up with. I would rather choke on greatness than nibble on mediocrity. My name is Craig Kleeman. I am the originator of the Must React system. I'm the founder of Craig Kleeman TV. You can find me at craigkleeman.com. I am honored. I am humbled. I am privileged that Kyle and Johnny invited me tonight to be with the good people at the Atlanta Tech Village. My name is Craig Kleeman. Peace. Cheers. I'm out.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Craig. Well done, well done. All right, y'all, that's Atlanta Startup Village number 27. I hope there's some more beer left, and work on your pitch, work on your linguistics. Y'all have a great rest of the evening.